Good morning all of you. In the last class we have started our chemical characteristic of water, and under that we have discussed about total solid, pH value and hardness characteristic of water. Now we will discuss about the chloride content characteristic. So chlorides are generally present in water in the form of sodium chloride, that is common salt, and the excess presence of sodium chloride in natural water will indicate the pollution of water due to sewage, minerals, chemical industries, etc. So chloride content in treated water that is supplied to the public should not be exceed a value of about 250 ppm, and this chloride can be measured by titrating the water with standard silver nitrate solution using potassium chromate as indicator. Therefore, the concentration of raw water that is being used for public supplies should be regularly tested so as to immediately detect any sudden increase in its chloride content and the possibility of any organic pollution of water. So, this is all about the chloride content. Next, we will move to the nitrogen content. So, the presence of nitrogen in water is an indication of the presence of organic matter, and this organic matter may present in the different forms such as free ammonia or ammonia nitrogen, albuminoid or organic nitrogen, nitrite and nitrate. So, let us first discuss about the free ammonia. This free ammonia will indicate the fast stage of decomposition of organic matter, and the consequent release of free ammonia will indicate the recent pollution, and its value in potable water should not exceed 0.15 milligram per liter, and this can be easily measured by simple boiling the water and measuring the liberated ammonia gas by means of distillation process. Next come to the albuminoid or organic nitrogen. This will indicate the presence of undecomposed organic matter. For potable water, its value should not exceed 0.3 milligram per liter, and this can be measured by adding strong alkaline solution of potassium permanganate to the water and then boiling it. After that, the ammonia gas which will be liberated will be measured, and it will indicate the amount of organic nitrogen that is present in water. Next come to the nitrite. So, this nitrite indicates the presence of partly oxidized organic matter, and the amount of nitrite in potable water should be nil because it is highly dangerous, and this can be measured by means of color matching method. Next come to the nitrate. Nitrate will indicate the fully oxidized organic matter, that means old pollution, and such water is not harmful, but the presence of too much of nitrate will cause a disease called methemoglobinemia, commonly called blue baby disease in case of infants, and the nitrate concentration in domestic water supply should be limited to 45 milligram per liter. This is also measured by means of color matching method. So, in color matching method, the corresponding indicators will be added to the sample of water, and then the color that will be developed will be compared with the standard color of known concentration. So, this is all about the nitrogen content, and these are the different forms. Next characteristic is metal and other chemical substances. Okay, generally tests are carried out in order to determine the amount of various metals and other substances such as iron, manganese, copper, lead, barium, cadmium, arsenic, selenium, fluorine, etc. in water. The amount of these mineral or metal in potable water are then limited to their permissible standard values so as to avoid their harmful effect on human life. So, the different type of elements and their permissible limits and what is the effect of these elements we will discuss in the summarized in a form of table. So, let us first discuss about the arsenic. So, the maximum permissible concentration, so this table is consisting of 4 columns showing serial number, and first one is the name of the mineral, third one is the what is the maximum permissible concentration, and what is its effect on human being or any other living organism. So, first one is arsenic. So, its permissible limit is 0.05 milligram per liter, and it may cause, when its concentration or higher concentration may cause cancer, diabetes and liver damage. Second one is barium. So, permissible concentration of barium is 1 milligram per liter, and it is highly toxic to human. Third one is cadmium. So, this cadmium, the maximum permissible concentration is 0.01 milligram per liter, and it is also very toxic to human being. Fourth one is copper. So, maximum permissible concentration is 1, and its higher concentration may affect human lungs and respiratory organs. Next is fluoride. The maximum permissible limit is 1.50 milligram per liter, and the consumption of higher concentration of fluoride may cause fluorosis, and lower concentration of fluoride, that means if the concentration will be less than 1 milligram per liter, it will cause dental caries. Next is lead. Concentration is 0.05, and consumption of higher concentration may cause mental retardation and behavioral disorders. Next one is selenium. The maximum permissible concentration is 0.01 milligram per liter, and it is highly toxic to human and animals. Next one is iron. Its maximum permissible concentration is 1 milligram per liter, and it will impart color to water. Manganese also impart color to water, and its permissible concentration is 0.5 milligram per liter. Next we will discuss about the dissolved gases. The various gases which may get dissolved in water due to its contact with atmosphere or the ground surface may be your nitrogen, methane, hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide and oxygen. So, first one is the nitrogen. So, the nitrogen gas is not very important. Second one is methane. The concentration of methane gas is studied due to its explosive tendency. Then next one is hydrogen sulfide. This hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S. All of you know that H2S. So, this H2S gas, if present even if in small quantity, will impart bad taste and odor to the water. Therefore, it should be removed. Then your carbon dioxide. So, carbon dioxide gas will indicate the presence of biological activity and it may impart bad taste and odor to water, and also it may cause corrosion. Okay. Next one is oxygen. Oxygen gas is generally absorbed by water from the atmosphere, but it will be consumed by the unstable organic matter for their oxidation. That means the organic matter will absorb or consume the oxygen that is present in water in order to get them stabilized or in order to get them oxidized. Hence, the oxygen that is present in water, that means the oxygen level, which is called the saturation level of water, may be reduced as this will be consumed by the unstable organic matter. So, if there is a if the oxygen will present in water is less than its saturation level, then it will indicate that there is presence of organic matter. So, this is known as oxygen deficiency. So, this oxygen deficiency can be determined by a simple test. So, in this test, your water sample is to be mixed with 10% acid solution of potassium permanganate, and then this mixture is exposed to atmosphere for 4 hours at 27 degree Celsius. Then the quantity of oxygen that is absorbed will be calculated by means of titration, and this amount should not exceed 5 to 10 ppm. And also the extent of organic matter, that means what is the percentage of organic matter that is present in water, can also be estimated by supplying oxygen to the sample. Okay. So, if we will supply oxygen to the sample, then if there is presence of organic matter, they will consume the oxygen, and we have to find out the oxygen consumed by the organic matter present in water. So, this oxygen demand by the organic matter is known as your biochemical oxygen demand, or in short BOD. So, BOD of treated water should be nil so as to make it free from any organic matter. Okay. So, these are all about your chemical characteristic of water, and in the next class we will discuss about the bacteriological characteristic of water. Thank you.